Welcome to Canning What You Grow. I'm Holly Baird. This is presented to you by the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Also, check out the new format on YouTube where you can view our videos on our channel with easy accessibility by category. Today we're making chocolate orange jelly. And what this is it's basically, it's really easy. You make it with orange juice. So maybe you have citrus in your neighborhood or have easy access to a lot of citrus. You could juice your own oranges. I'm just going to go ahead and use this fresh squeezed, or whatever you want to call it, organic orange juice. And you need 4 cups. And you can easily double this recipe if you want to. But I'm just going to make it with the 1. And it makes about 6 half pints. Okay, make sure there's 4 cups there. Okay, great. And go ahead and pour that in here. And then we're going to go on over to the stove and get this toast one. Now, this is just about to come to a simmer, but while I'm waiting for it to get there, I want to tell you about where I got this recipe from. I got this recipe from the master food preserver from Milwaukee County here in Wisconsin. Her name is Christina Ward, and she teaches different canning classes through the rec department. And this is actually a variation on the recipe in the ball canning book, but it's a really fun recipe because you can make it and give it away as Christmas gifts or just any kind of gift in general. And Christina was kind enough to let me use the recipe, but I would highly suggest, if you get a chance to take a canning class, whether it's through local rec department or some other source, even if you've done a lot of canning, you learn some great tips and tricks and techniques, and it's something I would suggest to just about any level of canner, especially if you're a beginner, because you're going to learn a lot of great information. So now that it's at a simmer here, I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And again, with canning, you always want to use the bottled lemon juice, because that way you're going to get a consistent acidity. If you use fresh squeeze, you cannot guarantee the acidity is going to be consistent that you need. Alright, so there's 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Then we also, while we stir, we're going to add 2/3 cups of pectin. And you want to use the one for low sugar or no sugar recipes. And just so you know, if you buy the 1.75 ounce box of pectin, that is 1/3 cup. So you would need two boxes of that. So I'm just going to stir this. We want to bring it to a boil, and then we're going to add the sugar. Okay, so now we are at a boil, and as you can see, you want it to be a roaring boil, and that means that when you stir it or whatever, it doesn't disturb the boil. So we're going to add 2 cups of sugar, and we use organic cane sugar because most sugar is made with the sugar beet, and unfortunately that is one of the highest GMO crops in America, so I use organic cane sugar just to make sure I'm being socially responsible. We go ahead and add that in, and then we're going to bring this to a full boil once we get it all combined here, and let it boil hard for 1 minute. Okay, so now it's to the full boil, and we let it boil hard like that for 1 minute. And so we're just going to give it a minute here, and then we're going to add the cocoa powder. And you want to add, it's unsweetened baking cocoa. You can find it in your baking aisle, and you just want to go ahead and add that. You want to start with 1/2 cup, and I'm going to show you how we add it in, and then you can always add more if you want it to be more of a cocoa flavor. Alright, so I'm going to turn this off, the heat. I'm going to go ahead and add this. And while you're adding it, you kind of want to just do these short, quick strokes like this so that it gets well combined. Okay, so now it's well combined, and you just want to give it a taste just to see, if you think it's cocoa-y enough. So I'm just going to give it a little taste here. I think you could use more cocoa, so I'm going to add a little bit more. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and add more. And again, you want to whisk it in nice and quickly. Make sure your heat is off while you're doing this process. It's plenty hot to help it combine. You don't have to worry about having the heat on. Okay, so I have a clean spoon here. I'm going to give it another taste. I think it's definitely more chocolatey now. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and get it ready to go in the jars. So we're just gonna test this set, but I think this will set up just fine. So while we're getting the jars ready, we're just gonna I just put it in this lid here, and we're gonna wait a couple minutes, let it cool down, and then we'll make sure that it's gonna set up. And all the while, you can it'll kind of form a skin on the top, kind of like if you cook pudding while you're testing the set, so you can let that happen. And that way, you can just take the skin off and then you can go ahead and can it. And while you're waiting for the test to set, you can also get your tools ready, you know, your headspace measure, your wand, your ladle, whatever else that you may need, so that you are ready to go when it's time to put in the jars. Okay, and as you can see, I mean, you want to double check, you just run your finger across and you can see that it's got a nice gel to it. And so that means you're good to go. You're ready to get in the canner. But here's a quick tip. You can just take your measuring spoon or whatever you have, and you just pull the skin off. And that way, you got that skin there. And you just put it, actually, you know, you can use a slotted spoon for this. And that way you can have that foam that forms a lot on jellies and jams, nice and convenient for you. Okay. Okay, so now we got our ladle ready, and we're gonna I'm just gonna give this a quick stir. We're gonna go ahead and get the jars out to fill them. All right, so now we have our jar ready to go, and you wanna leave a half of an inch of headspace. Okay, and then you want to wipe your rim. This one didn't really get any on it, but I'll make sure I wipe it anyway. And then I'm going to take my wand, get myself a lid, get the lid on, and then you just want to finger tighten, like so. And your jar is ready to go in the canner. We're going to get the rest of them done here. Okay, so we ended up with 3 half pints and then half of a half pint. So that's okay. Sometimes recipes just, you get less. So the water's boiling, set to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on. And I'm going to set my timer. And in 10 minutes, we will have the jam ready to pull out. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. Our timer went off. We're going to go ahead and remove the jars here. Let me grab a hot pad just in case. Okay. And again, you want to make sure you put a towel down or something so you're not putting hot jars on a cool surface. Okay, so we went ahead and got the jars out of the can, and we're going to leave them on the table here for about 24 hours. We'll check the seal, and then they're good for long-term storage. We actually ended up with 4, not 3. I must have miscounted along the way somewhere. The half of the jar here, it's pretty well cooled, so we're going to go ahead, once it gets a little bit more cool, put it in the fridge. It's going to be good for about a week or so. We'll just make sure we eat it in that time. And technically, you know, I know this is something that you don't grow, but it is a fun idea. It's a fun gift. And it's also a fun recipe to make. And it's quick and easy also. I'll leave the recipe in the show notes for you. Again, my name is Holly Baird, and this has been Canny What You Grow. To see all of the Canny What You Grow video series, you can visit our website, which is thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and you click on the Canny What You Grow icon.